goes wild as leaked videos reveal Disney's true position on the gay agenda. Watch this.
It's like, I love Disney's content. I grew up watching, all of the classics. They have been a huge, informative part of my life. But at the same time, I worked at small studios most of my career, and I'd heard, you hear whispers. I'd heard things like, oh, they won't let you show this at a Disney show. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little sus when I started. But then my experience was bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard on my little pocket of Proud Family Disney TVA. The showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. And so I feel like I felt like it was, maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess something must have happened in the last they're turning it around, they're going hard. And then all that momentum that I felt, that sense of I don't have to be afraid to let's have these two characters kiss, let's in the background to start, I was just wherever I could just basically adding queerness to if you see anything queer in the show, I'm Proud Family. But I just was no one would stop me and no one was trying to stop me.
That was great. I think they had Stanley Tucci doing the ASL as well, which is fantastic for him. He's still got in work. The secret is out. Disney is saying gay, and they have been for a while. The footage we just played was leaked from a Disney corporate leadership conference, and in it, Latoya Raveneau, an executive producer at Disney Television Animation, made it clear that her inclusion of queer characters and storylines in Disney animation was not only known of by corporate, but also embraced. Raveneau is the executive producer of the upcoming Disney Junior musical series, Rise Up, Sing Out, featuring the music of The Roots, which tackles the subject of coming together to fight racism and celebrate Black culture. She is also the director of the upcoming animated series, The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. I'm just so happy that I have Disney Plus on this.
I'm so happy that Fox flipped out over it. The whole point here is that representation matters. I'm not sure if that's ever been said before, but the fact is that if you're to be visible in the world, at times it needs to be forced on you. I'm sure we would not have desegregated schools unless it was forced on us.
I want to know who wrote that report on Fox, because if you need to write a report on Disney, you have to watch Disney, and if you watch Disney, you're gay. Because everything about Disney is gay. If you think about it, it's so gay.
No, there's so many TV shows and little miniseries that you can just we know the vibe.
Yeah. Well, no, but just even from Ursula to Jafar to the aesthetic of
Exactly.
Snow White. It's all gay, honey. It's all queer. It's all queer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Disney has been part of. As a queer kid, we dreamed with Disney, and it just because it wasn't very explicitly queer doesn't mean it wasn't.
Well, it's also,
I'm just saying it's gay.
well, what's also really interesting is this past week we've been talking about the state of Florida and DeSantis's new law that was passed, and how Disney didn't take a strong enough stance to represent the LGBTQ community, when in fact they've always had a gay agenda.
We've talked a lot on the show about how Disney didn't totally drop the ball before it passed and has really been using what we've called the off-ramp to get back on track. One thing I noticed when I was reading this article is they kept saying radical gender activists. And what do you all think that means? I think it's code for equality, which of course Republicans will have none of.
No, that's exactly what it has to be. I mean, they just don't, as soon as you insist on including a member of a minority group, they're going to call it some kind of radical stance. It's not radical. It's just people being people. But to Glenn's point, I think is important to note, there is a difference between Disney's business side and their production side.
Absolutely.
And one is far more conservative than the other. And I think on the production side, we have seen a lot more gay-friendly content from them than, say, the business side, who is the one, who is the side that took the stance or refused to take the initial stance with.
Or didn't come out loud. Excuse me, didn't come out loud enough to meet the employees of Disney. It wasn't that their stance was necessarily negative or against it. They just didn't make a big deal of it until they were pushed.
Right. It's also, you have to also acknowledge how the production part of things, there's so many queer people that work there because queer people were great artists. you know?
Yeah.
So we have these people working there, and then, so they're on one side, and then there's corporate on another. It's like, should we allow this or what?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they finally took steps to just go
But
all
I
in
think
for it.
corporate's also doing their research, and a company whose goal is to cause an impression on young people,
Yeah.
because that's where they make the money, you know. Teenagers and even younger, you want to capture them. Now you have to be queer friendly, and you have to give them representation, because if not, they're going to find it somewhere else, because now it's available.
But
so I think that if they want to attract children, they need to be open-minded, because even heterosexual kids will appreciate that, because even there, you know, everyone's questioning at that age, and they want to feel like they can. And I think that it's going to be good for business too.
Giving them the space
Yeah.
to.
And they've got
with
to
it.
do a balance, because tourism is what they bring to the state.
true.
And not just LGBTQ communities visit Disney. It's, you know, it's middle America. It's, you know, it's Mickey. It's happy. So, you know, they also don't want to disenfranchise the mainstream, if you will,
Of course.
while still playing the role of being supportive of the LGBTQ plus community. And that is a careful balance, you know, for anybody in any business situation.
Yeah.
So you don't want to alienate any one group. While you may not agree with them, you know, it's still business. And
if you got rid of all the gay employees at Disney, you'd just have Warner Brothers, and nobody won.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire